In this video for lay leaders, we're going to focus on communicating with people based on their attendance habits. One thing that we do with Touchpoint is provide a very simple way for someone at the church to send out an email to all leaders in certain classes based on program or division once the attendance has been entered. And that allows that leader to get that email, see who has been absent two or more consecutive times, and see their guest, and they can communicate with them right there from their phone. Let's see what that looks like. The email will say attendance reports are ready for viewing, although your system administrator can actually change the subject of that if you'd like for it to say something else. There is a link to the meeting. There is a link to the organization. And then below that are all the people who've been absent. She's been absent 4 times, 14 times, 2 times. Now remember, these are consecutive absences. If they miss every other week, they won't display on here. These are people that have missed 2 or more times consecutively since the last meeting. And then at the bottom of that report will be your recent guest. So whoever would normally be on your roll sheet because of your roll sheet visitor weeks would be listed on your recent guests. So it's a very compact way for you to get information about people that need a touch from you, a ministry touch. You can click and send them an email. You can dial their phone number. It's right there in your email. But let's go to the meeting. This is a link to the meeting page. So I'm going to show you what you can do right there from that meeting. Well, here's the meeting page that the report that was emailed is all about. It's the meeting on the 27th at 8 a.m. Now, this just shows you everyone who attended, whether they were a leader or a guest or whatever. That's not the part that you really want to focus on as a lay leader, whether you're the teacher or in-reach leader or outreach leader. You want to go to the toolbar. Under the gear is a section called Convert to Search. This is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. You can convert to search the attendees, those are the people that were there at the meeting, or the guest, or the absentees. Typically, you will want to communicate with those that were absent. Now, these people may or may not have been on that um, report that was emailed. Those that have missed more than 2 times consecutively will have been on that report, but those that just missed 1 week will not be. So if you want to communicate with all of them at one time, this is the simplest way to do that. This is everybody that was a member of the organization at the time of the meeting. That's what this condition is telling you. And they did not attend that particular meeting. Each meeting has an ID. And so this was computed on the fly as a search for you. And so now you can send an email and say, hey, we missed you Sunday. Here are the class notes if you're interested. The other thing you can do is to go back to that meeting and convert to search just the guest. You can go to the meetings by clicking the tab that says meetings and then clicking the date. We came to it initially from that email that had a link directly to this meeting. When you go to the gear, convert to search, guest, this will just be anybody who attended that particular meeting as a guest. So there's one person, and you can email him right from there, or you could pick up the phone and call him, or you could assign a task. We won't even get into task right now. We have other videos about that. But that's a way that you can keep up with people based on whether or not they attended a meeting. Let's go back to the organization. Let me show you something else about uh, attendance and looking at the organization. When we go back to the people page, and I showed you this in a previous video, you can sort by the last attended date. So when I do that, the people at the top are the people that have missed most recently. If I want to communicate with just those that have gone the longest before they've attending, I can use the checkbox over here. And I'm looking at the date on the right. 6/14 was when they attended. And I'm clicking over here on the left. So I'm going to go down and say, I'm going to email these that have missed since August. So I've got all of these people now selected. These are the only people I want to communicate with because they've been absent the longest. Once I have them selected, I've clicked their name. I need to click filter. Instead of 43 people, I want to see only those people that I have selected. And now I have 8. So at this point, you can use the toolbar and you can email just those 8. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Ask them a question. Are you having to work on Sunday? Is anything going on in your family? I hope you've been well. Tell me how things are going. Ask them questions so that they communicate back with you. An email is fine, but if all you say is, "Hi, happy birthday," or "Hi, missed you," then you don't expect them to answer. But if you ask them a question, they probably will, and you can find out more about what's going on in your class. Another thing you can do is print other reports. You've got all sorts of reports. If you wanted to send a card, you could print address labels. But you've got attendance reports, you've got other reports that, with children involvement and all sorts of things. You could see, are these people involved in other things in the church? That's a report that really has a kind of a specialized use, but it would allow you to see their name, the class. Are there other activities in which they're participating? And you can see, their join information. But that's a specialized report that might give you some helpful information in evaluating what's going on with them. There are other things you can do, like print a contact report, and that will show you any contacts that have been made. Contacts and tasks are vital to keeping up with members. So you see, these are the people that were tagged or were selected, and you can see there are task notes on there, contact notes, so you can follow up with that. We've got these in using Lorem Ipsum, so you can't really read all of that other than just a few at the top, but you can see information about those folks, and that might help you as you contact them. Perhaps someone made a contact and said, he broke his leg, he's out of commission because he can't drive. So he won't be back for at least 6 weeks. Well, that tells you more about what's going on with him, and you know how you can better minister to him. So don't be afraid to click any of those reports and find out what's going on with your people. When you're finished filtering, be sure you click the filter so that now you're viewing the 43. But if you're finished with the check boxes, click check none. Those are just a few ways that you can communicate with people based on their attendance patterns. You, as a lay leader, are the closest person to them in the church. It's not a deacon, it's not the person that's over your ministry area, it's not the pastor. It's going to be that life group leader or that subgroup leader that's inside the life group. So take that responsibility seriously and use the tools that we've given you. There are other videos available for other types of activities that you as a lay leader can do, but we've done just a few videos just specifically for you as a lay leader, and I hope you find these helpful.